This is the last weekend of the election. The voting day is June the 7th. A lot of people have voted at advance polls already. We do expect that a candidate or two, or maybe even one of the parties, might throw out a Hail Mary pass this weekend and do something that is designed, if not so much to persuade you to vote for them, as much as to dissuade you from voting for one of the others. And some of the negative ads and suppression literature that is used, it can be fairly aggressive, so just know that that's likely to come out this weekend. There are some three-way races that are too close to call. Three-way, and there are two-way races that are too close to call. And three-way races typically have, maybe one party's in the high 20s, one party's in the low 30s, and one party's in the mid 30s. That's really going to depend on election day, who's got the better organization in getting their vote out and actually getting people to vote. We're not expecting a record turnout this time. Certainly the NDP would benefit greatly if young people voted en masse more than they historically have. We expect that the senior citizens, who right now I think the polling suggests are leaning to the PCs, they always vote. If voting opens at 9 o'clock, a lot of seniors have voted by 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. So they are faithful voters, and so it's going to come down to ground game. It's going to come down to who gets their vote out. It's going to come down to who amongst the population is more likely to turn out. And that is, while it's a function of the activities of local campaigns, it's also historically, the older people are, the more likely they are to vote. So that should benefit Doug Ford and the PC party. Just before we go, we'll go back to the map for just a second, and we'll take a look at Liz Pop's projections. We can see, as Barry mentioned, Etobicoke North is gray. It's in the too close to call category. Here we have Don Valley West, which is Kathleen Wynne's riding, which they've identified as being too close to call. Right beside it, Don Valley East, Michael Coteau, the cabinet minister, is still showing up as too close to call. Willowdale, David Zimmer, cabinet minister, is still showing up as too close to call. That doesn't necessarily mean that these are three-way races. It means that at least two of the parties are within 5% of each other, and it's difficult to know who's going to win them, although Liz Pop is able to include these ridings in their projection model based on who they think is ahead. So you'll see down, as you get closer to downtown Toronto, lots of orange on the lake. You've got the Liberals competitive in Toronto Centre, competitive in University Rosedale, competitive in St. Paul's, competitive in Vaughan Woodbridge, and then you've got to actually get up to into the Ottawa area before we see much more red. So certainly the GTA is again, the 416 and the 905, proving to be the battleground where the election will be won or lost. It's clear from this map that the NDP is dominating the north, that the PC party is dominating what they call Central Ontario, sorry for the movement here. And it's when you get into the 416 and the 905 that really the outcome of the election, that's where we don't know. Most of these the other parts of the province, you kind of know who's most likely to win, although elections happen for a reason, and there will be undoubtedly some surprises. Again, there's 124 ridings. The magic number for majority territory is 63. Obviously, if one party is ahead, they'd like to have more than 63, a more comfortable majority. Most of these projection websites and aggregators right now are putting the greatest likelihood at a modest PC, Progressive Conservative majority, even though you may see a poll where the NDP is 1 or 2 or 3 percentage points ahead. As Barry mentioned, it's all how these votes are distributed and how they're broken out on a riding by riding basis. The second most likely outcome based on experts is a PC minority, with an NDP minority being the third most likely outcome. I don't think too many people right now would say that there's very much chance of there being a Liberal government come June 7th. But as Barry mentioned, they've had a pretty good run at 15 years. So look for a new projection model from LISPOP on probably Tuesday morning, which would be June the 5th, where they will tell you, based on the polls that have come out in the last week, what is most likely to happen. From our perspective, we continue to follow this very, very closely. Those of you who are our Ontario government relations clients who have been receiving a weekly update from us, you will continue to receive those every Friday afternoon. As always, if you have any questions about what any of this means, please feel free to contact one of us here, and we'll do our very best to answer your questions. All three parties now have put out platforms. The PCs have taken some heat because while the cost of their promises are in the platform, the other side of the accounting is not necessarily there. The NDP platform has been out since before the election. The Liberal platform was published the last Saturday, the day before the leaders' debate. That leaders' debate, Kathleen Wynne actually got very good reviews on that. She's put out a sorry not sorry ad, which, as of the time that I'm talking to you, since Sunday night until today, has been viewed about 2.5 million times on YouTube. I don't know if it's working or not, but certainly a lot of people are looking at it. So that brings you up to date. We will be doing this next Friday, the day after the election, where we will shift from what's going to happen to what happened, and do our best to help you make sense of it. We hope you've enjoyed these programs, and we look forward to seeing you next Friday. Have a great weekend, and we will talk to you soon.